Welcome back. It is yet again monthly wrap-up time, and for the last 3 months I kept on saying this is the month where I'll read more, and I just keep on not doing that. And the same thing happened in October. I do have an excuse this time, and the excuse is that I was very busy and had a lot of shit going on, which is also the reason I've been slacking on my uploads, which I'm very sorry for because I do want to be very consistent, but it just was kind of impossible this month. October was like the craziest month of the year, and I know that's like a thing people always like to say, but it truly was this time around. I was on a trip that's going to have a vlog very soon because it was my Edinburgh trip, and that's like the best time I've had in a long while. I was sick, and while I was on my trip there was also a lot of stuff going on from my personal life, which is like work related and mental health related, which made it very difficult for me to have any space to be creative. So here I am now. I have a lot of footage and things ready to go to be uploaded. I just need to edit them, and for the next 1.5 months of this year you'll get the uploads going crazy. I also have a lot of ideas, which one of them I'll start today probably, but I've been talking enough. Let's talk about what I managed to read and watch in October. This is also a problem. I won't be able to talk much about the things that I did read because most of them are for a video that's going to come very soon, but I already think I mentioned it once in one of my videos that I was going to do this, and I finally did. It's reread these babies. The Shadow and Bone world, the Grisha verse, was one of the first series I read that got me back into reading, and so I hold these very dearly to my heart and closely to my heart. Dearly? I don't know. And I wanted to reread them because it's been a while since I read them, and I'm in like a huge resurgence of obsession, especially with the things that I was into when I was a bit younger. And so I reread them, and I vlogged the entire thing, me crying and screaming about these books. It's all filmed and ready to go, and so will be the reviews. But there's also, I can mention this right now, there's not going to be a huge review in those videos. It'll just be me fangirling over and over again because there's nothing to review. These has always been great books in my eyes, and I also just need to show off my beautiful copies. I love them so much. So yeah, there's not a lot to say. I love these. If you're one of the few people who still want to read it but are like on the fence if you want to feel like you're 16 years old again, do it, because these are just so wonderful and angsty, and I just love found family, so give them a go if you still haven't, which why. But yeah, and if I still sound a little bit sick, it is because I am still a little bit sick, so let's just ignore that. And then technically that's it. I didn't read anything else because, like I said, I was busy mentally and actually. But I did want to mention a book that I started because I'm halfway through, and it's also very personal, but it's also very much on theme for me, and it's The Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice. And I feel like I always say this in every single video, but if there's something you should know about me, it's that I love vampires. And I first watched Interview with the Vampire last year, I think, like in September or August maybe. Immediately after finishing my first watch of the TV show, I ordered Interview with the Vampire, the book. I think I pretty much immediately read it as well, and then because I was so excited, I, like I said, while working in a bookstore, got Vampire Lestat, and then never read it. I was still very much in my obsession, I just didn't want to read it immediately. I also have The Vampire Mant, which I haven't started, of course. But yeah, I have this, and I do want to get all of them and read them in order, so I'll do that, obviously. But yeah, I love Lestat, obviously. I love him in the books as well, but Sam Reed is a good fucking actor. Anyway, there were a lot of plot points that I already knew about, just because I am a fangirl and I am always sleuthing in all of the fandoms and the Reddit and Tumblr and whatnot, so I've read a lot of things about Lestat. But there were a few things that actually really much surprised me, and this is just making me look forward to the release of the newest season, which will be focusing on this book, even more so, because I know what's going to happen, like something of that sort, you know, because they do stray a bit off of the original plot just because they're brilliant and change it into way better of a story. The difference between Anne Rice's writing of Interview with the Vampire and The Vampire Lestat is absolutely crazy. You can tell how much she loves Lestat, and it's just so different because obviously in the first one she wrote from Louis' perspective, from this one in Lestat's, and they're such vastly different characters that they sound like two entirely different stories and books, which is so fascinating to me when authors manage to have such different voices by writing. Because sometimes I really appreciate, like for Sally Rooney, like first one to pop in my mind, she has like a very strong voice, and it's not like it's in a bad way. I love Sally Rooney, which reminded me that I still haven't read Intermezzo, but I can always recognize a Sally Rooney book if I'm reading it, you know. I know she wrote this, but for this I still can't tell that Anne Rice wrote this, obviously, but it's very, very different. Because Lestat is cocky and he's funny and he's very confident and doesn't take shit serious at all. And that's sadly it for the books. I feel like this is going to be very short wrap up, just because I also didn't watch that much. In the colder months, I like to focus on rewatching TV shows that comfort me. So I've been rewatching Sabrina, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and Gilmore Girls, and currently Stranger Things, so that's been keeping me up all night. So I haven't had time to watch movies as much as I would like to, but there are 4 that I do want to talk about. And the first one is actually a documentary, and I watched this on the 3rd of October with one of my very dear friends, and we tend to always watch like true crime or paranormal type of videos or movies. The documentary we watched that day was a Netflix documentary called Amy Bradley's Missing, and this is of course a true crime case, so this is about real people, so I won't be rating it, but I do have to say, like, documentary wise it was very well done. I really like the structure of it, because there are also a lot of documentaries that are either very disrespectful towards the victims, or just the cinematography, like the scripting, just isn't doing anything. So this one was really well made. It's from this year, directed by Phil Lott and Ari Mark. And if you want to know what it's kind of about, it's really been, it's stuck with me, the story. I remember watching it and then afterwards, like just like recently, telling other people about it because I was like so distraught and saddened by the story. So it's a really tough case. But it's basically, this family went on a cruise ship vacation, mom, dad, and daughter and son, and I think they were like around their 20s, the kids, and they went on this cruise ship, had a wonderful time, and then their daughter, Amy Bradley, went missing while they were actively on that cruise ship. Sad thing about this case, which if you're going to watch it, you will very, very, very early on catch on to, is that the cruise ship sadly kind of fucked up. I don't want to put the blame on anyone, but they didn't handle the situation very well, and I think a lot of things could have happened quicker and more efficiently, and maybe they would have found her. Because sadly, still to this day, Amy is still missing, and there are a lot of theories and science, and people believe that she's out there, which I think I believe so too. Evidence to say so, but some people just don't want to be, you know, I don't think it's a really tough thing, you know. Very fun story. I actually have to refilm all of that, which I wonder why I'm mentioning, even because you didn't see any of that. But I was lastly talking about Amy Bradley's Missing, which I actually wasn't. I already finished the entire video, but my camera stopped rolling, which I don't have a reason for. So I'm filming on my phone now, and I switched it to selfie mode just so I can see in case it stops filming again. So if the quality isn't that well anymore, I'm very sorry, but I need to make sure I'm filming, because I do not want to repeat myself again. I did like a 5-minute monologue of talking about one of the movies that I watched, and it was a good one, so I need to redo that. I don't know if I actually ended up finishing with Amy Bradley, but I hope I did. I hope I did. The next movie I did watch while I was on vacation, and I rewatched this first 2 Scream movies with my little cousin because she had never seen them before. And I do have to say, rewatching them with someone who had never seen them before and didn't know anything about them was so fun and exciting, because just like the thrill and the excitement and also being scared of not knowing what's going to happen is so fun to like watch someone who has that still. Just because I've rewatched them so much, so I obviously know what's happening, and it's like so refreshing to watch it with someone who hasn't. And Scream is obviously directed by Wes Craven. The first and second one came out in 1996 and then the year after, and it stars Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, Matthew Lillard, Skeet Ulrich, and I love the Scream movies. There's obviously we're not going to be legally watching the newest one, because I remember what they did, and if you don't know, they fired someone who spoke up for Palestine, so we're not supporting the newest release. But I do love the Scream movies, especially the older ones, and there's such nostalgia and whimsy whimsy is like the wrong term, but you know, I just really love 80s and 90s slasher movies. They're just so much more fun and campy. That's a better word than whimsy. So I absolutely love the Scream movies. And so we watched the first 2 while on vacation, and I hope we get to watch the other ones one day. We just haven't had the time, so that is that. And then I'm not going to be looking into the camera because it's on selfie mode. I'm very sorry. And then comes the last movie, which I'm going to talk about a lot, just because I loved it so much. I had the absolute privilege to very kindly be invited to a movie screening, my first movie screening ever, and it was the best time ever. It was during those days where I told you I was going through a lot, and it was like kind of the perfect timing to give me like a little bit of something good, like good news, because it was very spontaneous. And then also just because the theme of the movie was really hitting my feels that day. And I took my sister to the screening, and I was invited very kindly by the director herself, and she's like the sweetest and kindest person I've ever met. And the movie that I'm talking about is Danke für nix. I have like this little poster card here, which the translation is basically thanks for nothing. And this is, if you can't tell by the title, it's a German movie. Before this, I've obviously seen German movies because I'm German, but I'm not really one to actively look for and reach for German movies. But since seeing this, I do want to actively seek out German indie movies, especially made by females and for females. And so I'll definitely be on the lookout for more like these. But let's talk about this one. And I had the best time ever. I felt so out of place. And I can't even call it imposter syndrome because I wouldn't call myself like an influencer of sorts or anything. But I just felt so wrong being there, like in the middle of what I'm guessing to be like film critics or like people who know a lot about film, is what I would say, because they were like on the older side and also very male, and so I felt very wrong to be there. But those worries went away the second I got to meet the director, because she's the sweetest, and we had a lot of fun talks, especially after per DM, which was so exciting. And basically the movie follows these 4 girls who live in a flat together, and they have a caretaker who takes care of them, because they all are underage and mentally ill. And while this movie focuses a lot on mental health, it doesn't focus on mental health. It just focuses on the people who have this daily life struggle, but it doesn't, you know, it's not the focus. It's not like this person has that, this person has that. It's just like these girls live together and they all struggle, and what I would say is the soul and heart of this movie is female friendship and sisterhood, and girlhood and being there for one another. Also giving voices to these extremely important stories is what I would say is at the heart of this movie. And I do have to say, my sister and I, we both can't remember the last time we cried or laughed this much in the cinema. It truly brought us to tears so much. First of all, as a young female in Germany, it's very much relatable, but also the acting and like for the laughing part at least, the comedic timing was absolutely incredible, and the cinematography and generally the writing of the story was so fucking well done. I'm like a girl who focuses on cinematography a lot. I will be watching a movie that's shitty just because it's made beautifully, but this movie doesn't have that. It's just beautiful and well made, which is crazy. And I of course was very excited to go see it because I was invited, but I did not expect it to love it as much as I did, mainly because I didn't have the movie on my radar at all, because like I said, I'm not into German cinema, sadly, until now. But the movie is like directly my genre niche. I love these type of movies, especially because it's female focused. Nice to have it be actually focused on the female in the story, and it's so honest and real and doesn't shy away from anything, but it also didn't take itself too seriously, but knew when to take it seriously, you know? What the fuck is going on? And so I'm very thankful that I was invited, not only because I was invited, which I am, but because it put this movie on my radar, because I wouldn't have known about it. But I think it's so important, especially as a young girl, a young woman, to watch a movie about young girls in Germany struggling with some of the things that I've struggled with, or that I've seen friends struggle with, or just generally seen a lot of young females struggle with. And especially in German, a lot of these topics are like taboo or like not talked about enough and just put into corners not to think about. But they're so fucking important to talk about. I'm so glad that Stella, who is the director of this, gave voices to these stories and did it so beautiful and realistic. And it was such an honor to watch it and get to hear her talk about it afterwards. And truly, if you have a little bit of spare money, which is absolutely wrong because cinemas are so expensive these days, but if this movie is speaking to you and you live in Germany, look if it's still showing in any of your cinemas close by, because it's absolutely worth every single second. And I would rewatch it again if I could, and I really hope they get like some way of like getting it out there more, because more people need to see this. And I was so thankful to be watching it, and that's like an experience I will never forget, because of the movie screening itself, but also just because of how great the movie is. And I've been constantly thinking about it ever since. So that is that. It's a wonderful movie. Like I said, if you have the chance to see it, please do. And please let me know if you read or watched any of these, and also let me know what you read or watched this month. What were your favorites? And yeah, see you in the next one, I guess. I feel like I missed some things that I wanted to mention, but it's fine. See you in the next one.